And here we are. We're live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Friday, the last Friday of May 2025. And here we are, Hippie Chicks Live. I'm
Maybe
Kat
too.
Kazee, and there's
I'm Elle.
my hippie chick sister, Elle. And it is the Friday after Memorial Day and or the whole weekend. And boy, did we have a great time last weekend.
Yes, we
We hung
did.
out, we have an inflatable pool in the backyard because we didn't want to have to mess with the beaches. And so we just made our own little water park. And I got a little too much sun. Hey, Mama, I'm peeling. And it's all good. So we do have a guest, and there was a miscommunication in regards to his email because his name is David, and when I asked for his email, he said Davy D, but I thought he said David D. 09 blah blah blah. And so I've been trying to send him the link to join us, and it was always to the wrong address, so he should have it now. So hopefully soon he'll be joining us in the back in the back room. But until then, we'll just chat a little bit about him. His name is David Drummond. He is a father and a businessman and entrepreneur and a husband as well. And he's an author of two children's books. And this is what we wanted to talk to him about. Where, not only the inspiration for his books, but that's the story in itself. And I want to save that for last. But the books themselves, because it's such a great lesson for children and a good bonding experience for parents and their kids, to talk about the stories. The first book he has is No Cookies for Breakfast, and this is really all about he's got 7 kids, so the man knows what he's talking about. um, and he has two sons that got up one morning and decided they wanted cookies for breakfast. And dad was kind of like, instead of just shooting them down, saying you're gonna get what I give you, he's like, okay, let's turn this into a teaching moment. And started showing them alternatives for breakfast, and also was teaching them how to compromise with him, right? Instead of just bullying his children, he was treating them as responsible human beings, learning and growing and developing, of course. And he did it in that manner, but still a great story nonetheless. So we're going to talk to him about that, and then also how he was inspired to write these stories, because we're all apples that have fallen from our various trees, right? And he is certainly an apple that has fallen from his tree. So, El, I'm going to let you take it over because I want to make sure he should have the link by now. So I'm going to do a little maintenance in the background.
Sure.
So tell us about what you've done in this week, because things are gearing up for you, aren't they?
Absolutely, they are. They're getting really busy. I got it, no problem. They're getting really busy this week. For me, I've got rehearsals like every single day and shows that are going to kick off starting June 7th. We open our summer show and we run straight through Labor Day, and then right after that, I'm going to be continuing to work because I've got a production that I am opening in another theater. So there's quite a bit going on. But we'll continue, of course, to be here for you and with you every single Friday at 4, because I've blocked that time out. No rehearsals, no nothing. Only Hippie Chicks Live, Hippie Chicks Happy Hour. So y'all will be able to see us. And I am excited too for today's show and what Kathy was talking about with um, the concept for Davy's first book, No Cookies for Breakfast. What I love about his approach, and he's going to give y'all a whole lot more about what transpired through the interaction, through the teaching moment that he had with his sons. But I love the idea of compromise, particularly when it comes from a nurturing place, when you're talking parents and children. I'm of that generation where you're going to do what I told you to do because I said do it. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, that just creates rebellion. And
No, it really does. It really, really does. And yeah, and it, well, and to our the older generation's defense, they didn't know any better.
They
That's what
didn't.
happened to them. You just do as you're told, and some people were nice about it, and some people weren't.
Right. Yeah, because it became about control more so than about teaching and about, rearing you
Developing
to
a conscientious human being,
yeah.
just somebody that here we pooped you out, go to work.
Right. Exactly.
That's pretty much
Exactly.
how it was. That's how it was. I'm hoping, all right, because my email, I'm probably going to have to go into a wholly different browser because my email keeps wanting to put in the incorrect email
Oh yeah, I hate that.
because
Yeah.
it memorized it. And
Right.
so hopefully he's getting it because he's
Yeah.
not popping in yet.
Okay.
Let me check. I'm going to disappear for just a minute
No
again,
worries.
and this will be
No.
the last time. If we can't get him, we can't get him. It's just
Yeah.
tough nuggies.
We'll
So
reschedule. Yeah.
we'll reschedule. That's exactly right.
So
So
yeah, that concept of rebellion, I tell you, it that is exactly what that mindset did for me. And to Kat's point, that our parents did not know. This is what they thought parenting was. This is what they thought nurturing was. This is what they thought love was. And I don't feel less loved. I was certainly loved greatly. Um, it's just, I believe that having an approach like the one that Davy utilized in his book, that he's going to talk about later, I feel like I would have found my voice, my real voice, earlier in life. I found it, but continued to discount it, thinking it was wrong because it may not have been in alignment with what I was told I had to do. So those are some pitfalls that we want to avoid. And those of you, I know that we've got many parents out here listening, and we're not we're not experts to tell anyone how to reparent their
oh my
children.
goodness,
We just,
absolutely not.
no, we just want to share some insights, some things that have worked, some techniques that have worked, and just see how, we can be even better with what we do, how we can shine that light to becoming better versions of ourselves, thus helping our children to become better versions of themselves. Because isn't that what we want? That's the whole idea, is to make sure that our kids are doing better than we did. Um, and that
Yeah,
was, yeah. And that was a lot of what our parents and the generation before them was trying to do. They simply just believed that by using an iron fist, that was the way to make it happen. And of course, since then, we've learned some other things. It's funny, people say that there's no one has written a book on how to rear children. Well, now there have been books written, and I imagine there were some books back then because that's really not a new thing. But again, people could only relay and teach us from their standpoint, their perspective, and their understanding. So we're gonna fix all of that. We're gonna help to shift some mindsets here today.
we're gonna try
We're
if
gonna
my
try.
email will let me. I'm gonna start cussing here soon. Hang on,
Yeah,
kid.
don't
Put your seatbelt
I'm
on.
tripping. Oh.
All right, so it's trying to do DVD. Is it gonna let me? Yeah, that is the right email, and it's not letting me do it. All right,
Any way to copy the link and maybe send it to him via?
DVD
Okay.
09. Okay, yeah, and that's exactly what I can't
Okay.
copy it from my phone to my laptop.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully he will get that and be able to go, be able to come on.
If not, here we are.
Yes.
Nobody's out there anyway. If you are, say hi.
Say hi. There may be people that pop after and check us out after, and we're gonna be sure they've got some fun.
Here we are. All right, so I got my ET glass again because
Yay!
we're gonna have contact soon. I
Yeah.
mean, like
Oh,
cold face contact. All right, he's got another email. Okay, so I was just getting into something juicy. All right, let me try and send this to him.
This is
Okay,
becoming a tale of its own, if you will.
it really is. Will David be able to show up? 273.
It was the hippie of times. It was the chicks of time.
All
We're so glad
right,
that y'all there
David
with us.
WD273. All right, a Gmail. Let's see what the hell happens. And we're gonna have a big old chuckle at this. So hopefully he shows up. All right, on the way.
I love that we are very we know how to handle ourselves in the face of adversity, you know?
Oh well, because we've seen that steamroller too many times.
Haven't we?
Too many times. And getting all bent out of shape about it, what does that do? Absolutely nothing.
Exactly. And I
Doesn't
learned that late in
well,
life as
you
well.
know, we learned to actually really listen to all those Bruce Lee movies that we watched when we were kids and be like water. You just got to go with the flow, man.
Oh, that's it. That is it. I was thinking back to when I was, working in corporate America and just how on edge I was at all times and
Yeah.
how snippy I was. And I was thinking back and I was just like, I started feeling a lot of shame. This was just a couple days ago. I started feeling a lot of shame and it was kind of taking me down into a dark place. And I had to kind of let it go. And I had to recognize again, because these are things we have to relearn, had to recognize again, Linda L., that was the unhealed version of you. That was your unhealed life. You are in a better place from a healing standpoint. And you don't recognize that person. You just
No, because
don't.
you're not that person anymore.
Right,
All
right.
at all. In fact, physically speaking, we're new people almost every day. I mean, we're shedding skin, we are, shedding hair,
Yeah.
we're creating new organs, we're sloughing off all the old and creating new. And same with our consciousness,
Yes, absolutely.
and our evolution. This is why we come here. This is a great big ride, and it is like a PhD of learning.
Yeah.
No, it truly is. And whatever it is that's happening, especially the hard, crunchy, chewy stuff,
Yeah. Good way to put it.
that's why we come here.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. Well, yeah, babe, you did.
Yeah, we did. We did choose to
You
come here.
did.
You helped me to see that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gives you, well, oh, here he is. Hot diggity
Yay.
dog. Welcome, welcome. Here we
Hello,
are.
Yay.
hello, ladies. How you
We're
guys doing?
doing good, Davey. We did the whole prelim of the whole technology crapola, so we're just welcome. We're glad to have you here. So
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
happy to see you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
absolutely, absolutely. So, what I wanted to do now, are you going by Dave, David, Davey? What do you prefer?
My name is Davey, but I go by Dave.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So either one's fine. Okay, so Dave. All right, so we were talking about your two books, No Cookies for Breakfast and Daddy Come Here and See. And so before we talk about your inspiration for writing both of these books, which is a wonderful story in itself, let's talk about the first book you wrote, No Cookies for Breakfast, which I think is just a lovely, fun tale for parents to bond with their children and also have a learning moment because this involved two of your seven children, correct?
That is correct. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So your boys got up and they thought they're going to have cookies for breakfast, but Dad turned it into a learning moment, right?
Exactly. Basically, it was a thing where their mother would give them an early morning snack. Technically, it would be after breakfast, but it was in my mind, the time frame to me was like it's still breakfast time. So on the days when I was on duty off from work from the military, and it was
Okay.
going on for a while, and one particular morning, I just said, what part of No Cooks for Breakfast don't you understand? I said, you guys sound like a daggone storybook. And I have to give props to my eldest daughter. She's the oldest of the seven. It was because of her I got challenged. she walks by after I said that comment. I was just joking. And she said, Daddy, why don't you just write the book, and kept walking. And I called her back.
That's
And
a
her name
mic
was,
moment right there.
yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah.
yes. Yes, yes, it's a family affair. I can't even. I have to give credit where it's due, real quick. And I called her back. I said, "For real?" She said, "Yes, Daddy. Every time you say you're going to do something, somebody else does it. Then you go, oh, I was going to do that, and then they do it." I said, "Okay, I get it, smart mouth." That's exactly what I told her.
Right.
So this was probably back in 2006, 2007 when the book actually started. I started writing it. I did 2 back-to-back tours in Iraq. I started it. I finished after I came back from my second, and it was on the shelf, literally speaking, for a little while. And life happens, and then June of 2021, I finally found an illustrator that made the time, because by this time she's an adult, and she challenged me again, and she was like, "Daddy, when are you going to get this book out?" And I said,
Your sounds like a very hip chick, by the way. Okay, just
"Yes, yes." And you
side
know
note.
what? You know what? She would actually love you guys. Unfortunately, she's here in spirit, but she transitioned 3 years ago. But
I'm
she
sorry.
would love your show because she's very vibrant. She was a model, and so you ladies right here, she would enjoy talking with you ladies. But
She
she's the
already
inspiration.
through you, honey.
Yes, so she's the inspiration for that. So that's what got that started.
Okay, all right. Well, good. She lit a fire under you, so
Yeah,
that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful tribute.
yes, yes, yes. And and you were speaking on the message, and I purposely try to do that with the books that I'm writing, and even with the third one that's coming out here shortly. But for
Wow.
No Cookies for Breakfast is, it shows hands on with your children,
Yeah.
and there's a bit of a compromise. And depending on what kind of parent you are, you would think, as a parent, there's no room for compromise, but there is.
Yeah.
There is.
And
Because,
it
yeah,
mutual respect
Yeah.
exactly,
yeah.
exactly, exactly. And
Instead of
yeah,
just here's a cookie, go watch TV or whatever, right?
exactly, exactly. The meaning of compromise can be many, given in different ways. You earned it. Um, let's complete a task before we get to this. You're not just going to have things fall in your lap because you said so. It's like, wait a minute, we got to work our way there. So, it is basically, a little bit of critical thinking involved early on. A lot of parents don't even think about that. And
Yeah.
we take for granted the importance of critical thinking. And that is why I do write children's books. That's my way of giving back. And not to get political, but the thing is, nowadays with all the social media, it's like a gift and a curse when it comes to the children. But it's just like when we came along, parental guidance is suggested when there's a
Right.
certain episode that comes on.
Yeah.
We don't follow that with the tablets anymore. I don't use the word hate. I kind of dislike it for the wrong reasons. If you're going to be there to administer your child, then you can feel from it, but you can't get that when you're hands on. Our era where we couldn't read yet, we had somebody, whether it was our parents or some sort of adult, uncle, aunt, they read to us.
Mhm.
So it appeals to our social skills, our critical thinking. We're asking questions. We might even ask our own questions.
Right.
So my that's my legacy as far as giving back, because at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's a lot of things we can take on, but it's like, you know what, I'm just going to start from this source here with the children, and just pray that the future comes to where they can understand the importance of actual reading a book
And that
and
is so
socialize.
lost. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. That's
Yeah.
so lost now, again, because we've got electronics and it's so easy to simply watch whatever, listen to audiobooks. I don't even listen to audiobooks and I don't knock that at all. I understand that people
it's
have
my
time
favorite.
constraints. Yeah, and I think it's a great thing. I personally can't listen to an audiobook. I have, and I can't remember, there's a word for it, Davy, you may even know it. I have to feel the book in my hand. I can't even read on Kindle. I have to feel the book in my hand.
I
And
enjoy that as well, but just because I'm old school, but reading itself is hypnotic to me and it puts me right out. And I find that I have to read like the same paragraph over and over again just to make sure I actually got
mm,
it. I'd
right,
rather listen. I'm very auditory, which is why I'm a hypnotherapist.
There
Duh.
you go.
right.
There you go.
And that's why I don't knock that because people take in information differently,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with
Exactly.
that. But yeah, I have to feel it in my hand. And when I think about that learning experience from, the way that you approach no cookies for breakfast, very often parents, at least of the generation that came before us and prior to that, kind of think of compromising as losing your power or losing your control. You're not losing anything by compromising. Look at what your child is gaining. Look at the learning that's happening for both of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not
Open
just letting the
mindedness.
kid get away from with whatever they want. It's a dialogue, isn't it?
It
Yes,
is.
yes, you both exactly right. Open mindedness. It's not about what I want, me, 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 me. It's like, wait a minute. So we both have a win-win situation. So it gets the thought process going. And far as what you mentioned a few minutes ago, I was laughing because, as you can see, I got excited when you said that because
Yeah.
I used to do that. But as guys, it didn't look as cool to do what you were doing. But I will have to say, I don't have a problem saying it. The feel, I would smell it. If I looked around and see if anybody's looking, and I would
Seriously.
smell it because I didn't want to
Yeah.
get caught looking like a weirdo.
Smells
Smell it.
great.
Yeah, I would smell the book and everything. It's that. It's just that.
It's very visceral. You get enveloped in it, the whole experience. And
Exactly.
and we I don't think it's a dying art. It's just taking a back seat right now. That's
Mm.
all. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
We're morphing and changing and going through different things that we've never gone through before. So I don't see that as anything that's going to disappear from humanity's viewpoint, if that makes any sense.
It does. I don't think it's more so like going away, but I think it's decreasing, and that's why I try to give the books dialogue. Like the second book, Daddy Come Here and See. That's a love letter to my children, and then for the people that purchase, I pray that's the same for them. And that book is about my third youngest son, DeAndre, and his oldest daughter, Naomi. I call her Mimi. And he is in her world of imagination, and you have to read to find out how he fares out because in her world of imagination, she's good with everybody. She's friendly, but we don't know how he will be accepted. But the concept of that book is not just for the children, it's also for the adult because once again, spending time with your children. We can buy kids everything in the world. You won't even remember half the stuff that was bought, but you remember how you felt when
100%.
somebody read you a book. And it's also something for us because when you're a child, you don't know the first thing about adulting. When I came through the door from work, working in the military 14 hours, the job I had in the Navy, my kids doesn't understand anything about adulting. So
Right.
Yeah,
I
right.
right. They're children. So
Yeah.
how do I meet them where they are? I have to go back. And my adult kids will tell you now, they'll joke me like he's the biggest kid you ever know. But I would go into my imagination, join them in their world. Whether my daughters was having a tea party, never ashamed to say it. I used to tell them don't take pictures, but I was joking. But I would put my little hat bonnet on and pinkies up,
That's
and
it. Because it
I would
takes
get
one to know one, doesn't it?
Exactly. Sometimes I would get the names wrong. I'm like, oh, this is Frank. No, Daddy, that's not Frank. That's Mike. Teddy Bear's Mike. The dinosaur is Frank. I'm like, okay, and you join them. But
I'm
that's what
just here for
purpose
the
of it.
party.
Right, exactly. And and I still feel the joy. I mean, I guess you can see it on my face because I remember just like it was just yesterday. And that's what I'm trying to instill. I'm trying to encourage you to do it more. I don't think it's going away completely. It's just that I want to try to spark. Hopefully I can spark whomever to do more of it or to give the lesson, not just for the children, but have the adults get involved because it's always easy to buy your child a book. Okay, here's the storybook. All right, but go in with imagination
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
make it fun because now you involve the bonding, social skills start to develop. Um, there's so many different levels of, sometimes when you read to a child, it helps them out with their day. It decreases anxiety because you got a certain voice that they hear, the pitch when you're reading. And it's like, and they're forgetting about their day. It's almost like they was at work, but it was just a day in kindergarten, but you just
Well,
don't
that's
know what might affect them. But
yeah.
it's worked for them. It's worked for them.
I can still
So,
hear my grandmother reading to me. She is the one who read to me very early on. I can still hear her reading to me.
and you feel that. And
It's
Yes,
a beautiful
that's,
thing.
that's, that's a legacy.
it
And
is.
that's something that can keep getting passed on. And that's what I'm trying to encourage, and that's why when I can, I do volunteer reading at different schools. I want to give a shout out to Maverick Learning Center. They have a school for the autistic and the New Life Beginnings bilingual school. They're doing a great job over there as well. But you want to create that. I want to create that. That's my purpose. I want to try to create that type of dialogue.
Great.
Well,
Because
that's
I'm like you. I agree with you. I don't think it's going. I don't think it's going away. But I just think that the enthusiasm, far as the parents, need to come up a little bit because you adult so much. You just hear, and a lot of them get the tablets and go. It's like the microwave back in the day when it first came out. The saying was, "Set it and forget it."
Yeah.
don't want to do that. So I have to applaud you for encouraging more hands-on parenting because we definitely need that, Dave, without question. So we're actually needing to wrap up now. It's 28, but thank you so much for sharing your story and your inspirations with your kids and the work that you're putting out in the world and how you're encouraging people to be more hands on and to be more involved with their kids. It's not just set it and done, right? It's not your kids
Exactly.
aren't an Instapot
Right.
where you throw
Exactly.
toys at them or a video game and then just go do something else, right?
That
So
part.
so for last few words, I see that we have a little more time than I thought we did. Yeah, we got 2 minutes left. Um, uh, Last thing you want to throw out there, Dave, just to the world for your inspiration. Because your mom was the one that got you reading, right? So she was here
Exactly.
and taught you how to do that. So shout out to your
Yes.
mom
Yeah.
without
Yes.
question.
Absolutely.
Yes. She would put money aside to buy me a Scholastic book. I would come to Scholastic sign up. Sure, this is the book I want. I'm like, I don't know if we can afford it, but she'll find a way to get it. And I got golden books. And yeah, I owe her the world because she is the one that got me involved. And she
Well,
was very hands on.
she's definitely shining down on her baby boy, and so very proud of you, without question,
Yes.
with everything that you're doing. And so we so appreciate you taking your little time out of your Friday evening and to spend with us and share your story. And
Thank you for having me.
Can I
absolutely,
chime in? Your books are on Amazon, real
Yes,
quick.
real quick, you can find them on Amazon website. You can find them on Walmart, Barnes and Noble websites, and then when you do the search, you'll find other sites as well.
Great.
So
Awesome.
hopefully, people will go out to buy them. And then not only that, when you sit down with your child, you can actually enjoy cookies after breakfast.
Ah,
Yeah, there you go. All right, no cookies
favorite.
for breakfast. Daddy, come here and see by Davy Drummond. Davy, thanks again so much. God bless you. God bless your mama for being
Thank
so
you.
good to you and getting you reading. And
Yeah.
Elle, have a great weekend. Davy, have a great weekend.
Do the
And
same, ladies. Thank you for having me.
absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely, guys. We'll see you next Friday here on Hippie Chicks Live on New Reality TV. And till next time, peace and love.
Peace.